We have one more panel for you, then we'll break for lunch. And don't forget that 11:30, we will have Dave Perdue up here speaking. So right now, we have a panel that's called the Pennsylvania Chase. This is really interesting. Our moderator is a United States political strategist and commentator who currently serves as the CEO of Citizens Alliance. Now, he's been named the door-knocking guru after winning 310 legislative races by deploying teams to knock on over 6 million doors. He's now returned to his home state of Pennsylvania to launch the Pennsylvania Chase. It's a 2024 effort to knock on 500,000, 500,000 doors across Pennsylvania, chasing the GOP ballots. So the aim of the PA Chase is to bring the total number of GOP mail-in ballots up from 20% to 33%. And here to talk about that, and probably the man to do it, is Cliff Maloney. Please welcome him.
All right, good morning, everybody. Between us, standing in the way of a break, so we'll get right to it. I want to introduce my right-hand man, Mr. Justin Greiss. Justin is the real reason I'm out there trying to raise the funds and put the resources together. But we've knocked 6 million doors, won over 300 elections. We're going to talk a little bit about it. But Justin, I appreciate you being here with us today. Okay, we're going to go to some slides. Today we want to talk about something we call the Pennsylvania problem. And when I ask folks this, we always get some interesting answers. But there's really only one answer when you ask somebody, what is the Pennsylvania problem? So let me go to that real quick. Hold on one second here. The Pennsylvania problem is very, very clear to us. Now, I like to start with this because people ask, what are we doing back here? Okay? We don't live in Pennsylvania. I get called a carpetbagger all the time, but we got such a big problem here that we decided we had to come back. So I want to talk a little bit about who Justin and I are. Justin, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, Cliff and I both have Pennsylvania roots. We've been working in the political scene since finishing college. Cliff went to college at Pittsburgh. I went to Elizabethtown College, just right down the road. Bunch of globalist communists there at that college, of course, as most. But we're both from Pennsylvania, originally grew up in Kutztown, have a lot of love for our home state and travel back here often. Both of our families are here. And of course, being such an important election state, we're glad to be back running this program. As Cliff said, we've knocked over 6 million doors in our time, deploying young people across the country to help conservatives win elections up and down the ballot, from U.S. Senate and President all the way down to school board races. 310 wins total. Lost count at this point, but I think 47 states now. Can't get anybody elected in Hawaii, but we're working on it. And finally, the Liberty State Project. What we've been spending all of our time on is a goal in 4 different states, Pennsylvania being one of them, to take over 25% of the legislature with hardcore Freedom Caucus type people. You know, not Dan Musers, like real Scott Perry people, you know, real hardcore guys. So,
all right, so let's talk about the problems we have. We've got no excuse mail-in ballots here. Ballots go out 50 days before Election Day. And unfortunately, Democrats have used this to have 50 election days, whereas we have decided we're going to have one day. Let me say this for the record before I get berated by the crowd. I hate mail-in ballots. Let me say it to this side. I hate mail-in ballots. I vote on Election Day in person. I don't want same-day registration. I want paper ballots. I don't want machines. I want them hand-counted. So document that. I want to get your attention back, and now we're going to talk about the current rules. I told you what I'd like to have. That is not the world we live in. And so we've got a decision to make. For the past 4 elections, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, we have failed to realize that the Democrats are running up the score when it comes to mail-in voting. I don't like that. That's just the reality. And so what are we going to do about it? Okay, let's look at the results. Justin, you want to walk through 2020?
Sure. So in 2020, we see the results are clear. Democrats, 77% of mail-in ballots returned. Republicans, 23%. So again, we're walking into Election Day with a 50% deficit. 2022, we're seeing the same numbers. In fact, it went down. of course, due to the election security concerns, Republicans have been going in the wrong direction on mail-in ballots. So what does that really mean? That means Democrats have stopped talking to almost 1 million people. What do I mean by that? In campaign terms, every dollar you spend is to talk to voters. The Democrats, before Election Day, have already taken 1 million people out of their spending plan. 1 million people they're no longer sending mail to, text to, probably still texting them, text, all the digital ads, everything they're doing, 1 million people have been removed from that, while Republicans are still chasing their voters to turn out on Election Day, rain or shine.
So when we put these 4 cycles together, we realize that the average for Republicans is 20%. So this is just mail-in votes. 20% has been the average. So what's the solution? What are we going to do about it? So as we said, we've launched the program called the Pennsylvania Chase, and it's very simple. We want to hire 100 to 120 full-time ballot chasers, match the Democrats at their own game, and go out and knock on 500,000 doors in the state of Pennsylvania from September 1st through Election Day.
Would anybody like to guess how many ballot chasers the Republicans had in Pennsylvania last cycle?
Full-time ballot chasers.
Full-time paid guys.
None of you guys ran into ballot chasers that were chasing GOP ballots? I'm sure all of you are pretty strong GOP voters. Democrats average 100 to 150, depending on the cycle, full-time, paid, year-round. Let me say that one more time. Full-time, paid, year-round. And we're still spending $100 million thinking the TV ads are going to win the election. I hit the mute button, just like all of you. If another Fetterman and Oz commercial comes on the television, we might lose it. We need to figure out how to reallocate those resources to match the Democrats at what they do. So let me talk about what they're doing. What are they doing now? There's no mail-in ballots out there for them to go out and chase. This is phase 1, January 1 through September 1. And there are tons of great groups. Groups out in the hallway. There are other groups we're working with, we're coordinating with when we can legally. But phase 1 is getting folks to request a mail-in ballot. I don't want anybody in this room, I'm going to get fired for saying this, to request a mail-in ballot. Not one of you. Because you're going to show up on Election Day. I'm not trying to move Election Day voters to becoming mail voters. That doesn't change the number. What we have to do is we have to target those million. There's 1 million low propensity Republicans in the state of Pennsylvania. Republicans. It might sound crazy for you to hear that, but there are 1 million of them that are registered to vote who don't vote. We have got to do what the Democrats did, which is target them, get them on that ballot request form, and then all of a sudden they're 75% more likely to vote, and they're going to vote straight ticket Republican. 1 million of them. Okay, so we launched. We've had a lot of fun with this. We're owning phase 2. Okay, I'm not trying to take credit. There's a lot of groups that are going to be involved here. Phase 2, we're going all in on that. We are getting those 120 activists, those paid ballot chasers. We're knocking the 500,000 doors. But phase 2, that's September 1 through Election Day, that is what we're trying to own. And so you've got to look at the different processes of what the Democrats are doing. Okay, what's our plan? This is one of my favorite quotes from Lindsey Graham. The solution is to bomb every country and then make a plan once the dust settles. Now, the fact that you had to even think, did he really say that, should concern you. This man's a rhino. Keep him away from the Republican Party. Okay. Here are the basics of the plan. We got to go out and raise $2 million. That's going to be a pain. It's something we're doing every day. We have raised over $1 million. Happy to report that. It's crisscrossing the country, meeting with different patriots that want to see Pennsylvania become competitive again. As I said, knock on 500,000 doors. And this is the part that I'm very excited about. Okay, we feel that if we can get to 33% of all mail-in ballots being Republican, that Pennsylvania is extremely competitive again. Okay, so 20% is where we're at. You guys seen this movie? It's a great movie. 20% is where we're at. If we get to 33% of all mail-in ballots, we think we're extremely competitive. I don't want to say we can't lose. That's not accurate. But the bigger question is, what do the Democrats do? How many raw votes do they get? Do they go from 2 million in 2020 down to 1 million in 2022? Where do they land? Do they let off the gas or do they triple down? Most times, they're going to be chasing ballots like crazy. We know they're in the field right now. So they're probably going to land somewhere between that 1 million and 2 million, which means for us to get to 33%, we've got a lot of work to do. But the cool thing is, it's only 33%. We can still lose mail-in ballots. 1 out of every 3, the numbers show us, is how we can win. Okay, one of the big things I want to ask everybody in this room to do, we have launched something called the PA Chase app on your phone. It's both Android and Apple. Justin, you want to talk a little bit about the app?
Yeah, the app is available right now. In your programs, there's QR codes just like here and out at our table right outside. You can grab this app, and it was designed by some of the greatest patriots known, people that have actually been knocking doors, talking to voters, and their idea was, how can we get an app so easy that we can give an 80-year-old 3 White Claws and get them using that app immediately, okay? That's their quote.
That's a quote.
Their quote, not mine. But you can grab this app right now. You can open it right now from here and walk out of this room and go knock doors. 15 voters. He's got it. Hold that up. Show everybody. I don't see many phones. Get the phones out. Act like millennials. Let's get them out. We've got time. Get it out. The PA Chase app on the App Store. Grab that app. But you can walk out of this room and go knock on voters' doors immediately. There's no logins to finagle. There's no hard time. How many have actually been out knocking doors on an app before in their career? So, how many of you have got locked out of the app before or had tech problems with your apps before? Yeah, all the same hands, right? So this is the app to make it easy. And in this app, I'll let you talk about contact upload, Cliff, but in this app, the door knocking side, we're going to be bringing in not only the paid folks that are chasing ballots, but also volunteers and working with the county parties and affiliate groups. So we have Fletcher Carper here today. Fletcher, stand up, will you? Fletcher Carper is our grassroots director who will be speaking at various county events and presenting and really walking through this app for folks to make it so easy to use that you can join this as a volunteer as well. And of course, we're hiring people of all ages, anybody, local, from that Patriots just want to help out. We're hiring as well, and that's at pachase.com too.
Okay. So one of the things that is a daunting task is for me to tell you about what the Democrats did in Wisconsin and how we're matching it here. And I'll get a lot of pushback. In 2022, this was last cycle, Democrats in Wisconsin were offering $250 for Democrats to upload all their contacts and share it with the state party. Republicans challenged them, took them to court and said, hey, you can't pay people to vote. You're getting these contacts and then pushing them to vote. The court said, yeah, they can pay people money for their data and then have them encourage their friends to vote. The court ruled on it. They said they're not paying them to vote. But talk about an impactful connection. So what you'll find in the app, we have an upload tool. I'd like you to get over the fear of, I don't know if I want to share all my data. We're asking you to share the name of the person and their phone number. We don't get to keep any of it. Superfeed Technologies, the company that we worked with, we built this app alongside Turning Point Action. Okay, so they're trusted folks. We didn't go to some lefty in Silicon Valley. We went right to good people to build this app. But what we're trying to do is to get everybody to upload your contacts. It will match it against the voter file. And you're going to have some very disappointing moments when you learn some of your friends are Democrats. But it will match it against all of your contacts to the voter file. And it will spit out and it will tell you how many of those people are registered voters in the state of PA. Now, if Bob Smith is in your phone as Pookie, Pookie is not going to match with the voter file. Okay, so there will be a drop-off depending on how well you keep your contacts in your phone. But our effort is to get people across the state to upload their contacts. We're trying to have 10 million contacts uploaded. And then when we match it, what's going to happen is we're going to be able to send you push notifications so that you can send text messages directly to the 120 people in your phone that have registered Republican and ask them to either request a mail-in ballot, or if they've already requested it, you're going to ping them in that last 50-day window, and we can continuously follow up with them until it's in. A lot of friends tell you, oh, I'll vote on Election Day. Election Day passes, you look at the voting roll a week later, and guess what? They didn't vote. Here's what the Democrats learned. If you're 50 days out and somebody gets their mail-in ballot, and they tell you, oh yeah, don't worry, I'm going to vote. I'm sending it in right now. Well, 10 days later, we can check again. And if they didn't vote, guess what? You go back to Susie and you say, Susie, you didn't vote yet. Oh my gosh, Cliff, I'm so sorry. I'll put it in the mail right now. 30 days out, we check, still didn't vote. Susie, I'm calling you again. Come on now. We got to save the country. Susie sends her ballot in. You get 50 days. We have time. We can follow up. We can see the data. And we're going to be able to track all of that by telling you at any point how many of the people in your phone that we matched have voted. And we'll give you the option to call them, to text them, to send them a postcard. It's a connection. It's not a random volunteer. And while you're reaching out to them, we're banging on their door. Hey, Susie, Bob told us that you told him you were going to send that ballot in, but we didn't see it come in. Man, these people are nuts. You want us to not show up at your door again? Submit your ballot. Once they submit it, guess what? They mean nothing to us. And that might seem transactional, but we're trying to save the country. And Democrats are serious people. That's what they tell people. You want us to stop coming? We can't stop coming until your ballot's in. And I want to say this in a way that won't get me sued. We will do everything possible that is legal in the state of Pennsylvania, but we will match the Democrats at every single thing that they do. And I think a lot of people, if we see harvesting, we're going to have to deal with that. You're supposed to only be chasing, but I just want to be clear. We will match the Democrats at everything that they do because it's that important this year that we get out there and do it. Okay, so the big things that we mentioned to you guys, PAChase.com. Anybody that wants to apply to be a ballot chaser, we'd love to interview you and get you involved. We've got Leo Nepper and Fletcher Carper here and R.C. Maxwell in the back. Talk to our teams. If you have any type of local group, we want to schedule and get folks to see what the app does. We want to get people involved in some weekend volunteering. And I want to encourage you, work with all of the groups that are pushing this. Okay, this isn't us saying that we're the only group. We're trying to be cohesive. We want to bring everybody together. And I think with a little bit of hard work, we can get from that 20% to 33%. I don't want to have to spend time in Pennsylvania, but we have a major problem here. And I do believe the White House runs through Pennsylvania. I do believe the U.S. Senate runs through Pennsylvania. I do believe we have to flip the PA State House back, not for the rhinos, but for the real conservatives. Got to have some courage this time. And I think we need to pad our numbers in the Senate. With all your help, we'll make it happen. Thank you, everybody.